For more than a century, Thomas Edison and the Lumiere Brothers of France have been celebrated as the creators of motion pictures. But in fact, a little-known Frenchman working in England made the world's first film years before them. Jonathan Vigliotti reports.
A camera captures traffic along a bridge, a man playing the accordion, and a family gathering in a garden. By today's standards, these scenes would be tossed on the cutting room floor, but over 125 years ago, when they were first captured, they were revolutionary. And odds are you've never heard of the man behind the camera. In the English city of Leeds, he's an icon. Louis Le Prince, a French engineer who, as filmmaker David Wilkinson explains, made history on this bridge.
In 1888, he patented a one-lens camera with which he filmed Leeds Bridge from this British Waterways building. These were probably the world's first successful moving pictures.
In his new documentary, Wilkinson hopes to tell the world what his hometown of Leeds already knows. Le Prince was the first man to make a movie.
He beat all the others. He beat Thomas Edison, he beat the Lumiere Brothers by several years.
Thomas Edison and France's Lumiere Brothers have long been considered the pioneers of film and cinema. In 1894, in New York, the Edison Company premiered their first publicly shown film, The Blacksmith Scene, and went on to produce such exciting crowd pleasers as Cats Boxing. 1 year later in France, Louis and Auguste Lumiere filmed and released this movie of workers leaving their factory in Lyon. Edison and the Lumieres gained worldwide acclaim, even though the evidence shows Le Prince created his films several years earlier. The proof? The date of the death of one of his main characters, Sarah Whitley.
This is it, look!
Wilkinson tracked down her grave, October 24th, 1888.
That to me is concrete proof, because you can't fake a death.
All Le Prince had to do to secure his place in history was show his film to an audience.
When was the first film as we know it presented to the public?
That was the problem, it never was.
Le Prince was getting ready to premiere his film in New York, but in the weeks leading up to that trip, he left England to visit friends and family in France. He would never return.
Le Prince was last seen on September 16, 1890, boarding an express train to Paris. But when his train arrived at its final destination, Le Prince never got off. He and his bags seemingly vanished into thin air.
There is a great conspiracy theory. We'd all love to believe that early cinema was so important that somebody would have gone to the lengths of murdering somebody.
Bryony Dixon, a silent film historian at the British Film Institute, isn't buying that conspiracy, but says Le Prince did show a cinematic eye that was way ahead of his competitors.
He understands instinctively to take, on the Leeds Bridge film, a high point, to look down at lots of different people moving, and this is what excites people about early film.
And it's what got Wilkinson hooked 30 years ago when he first began researching Le Prince. Along the way, he's made major discoveries, like these blueprints for a theater.
The hairs on the back of my neck stood up because it seemed to me that what I was looking at here, with these benches and the possible screen position and windows, this is Le Prince's cinema.
Le Prince's films and groundbreaking cameras only got as far as the National Media Museum in Bradford, where they are today.
This was so much fun about this.
Though a list of his film ideas, owned by his great-great-granddaughter, show had he lived, Le Prince may have produced the blockbusters of his time.
He's a showman because of Buffalo Bill Barnum.
Now Wilkinson wants to give Le Prince the audience he deserves.
I think it's very important if somebody does something that improves the lot of mankind, and film certainly has done that, that the person that's responsible for that, all the people who are responsible for that, should be acknowledged.
In November, on what would have been the 125th anniversary of Le Prince's New York screening, Wilkinson hopes to show his film in Harlem, the final act in cinema's first story. For CBS This Morning, Saturday, Jonathan Vigliotti, London.
What an incredible mystery. Man gets on a train, never gets off. And, I mean, what could have been, arguably is the first film.
I know. It's something that could never happen today with all the surveillance and all of,
Exactly. And I don't know if we'll ever find out what happened to him, but great story.